All right. Hey, welcome everybody to the special episode of Profit Acceleration Secrets podcast. And today we are hosting just a special profit acceleration coaching session. And I am so delighted to have my guest today, Simone Henry, online with us. Simone, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. How are you?
I'm doing very well, especially in the day on a Friday. This is the best way to wrap up a day is talking with you and talking business. So I really appreciate the time you're giving us today.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. But Simone, before we dive into our conversation to explore business growth opportunities for you, would love to just kind of get a quick introduction. Would love to learn about you, your business, and share with us anything you'd be open to sharing on how you got started.
Okay, well, I actually got started in business as building up a website that I thought would be, gangbusters. It was a digital download store for gospel and Christian music, and so I was doing that for a little while, and then I transitioned into I was working with somebody, and we were running a 24/7 online radio station, and then we ended up shutting that down, but I still wanted to work in that industry with artists, and so I guess I basically started another brand, and that one was to help independent recording artists with resources and marketing. That's actually how I got into marketing. So what I'm doing now is digital marketing for small businesses. So I started with working with artists, just helping them to market themselves, and I focused on helping them to grow their fan bases because so many artists, the education that they're getting is all around the industry and what the industry wants, rather than taking their music directly to fans, to the people. Um, and then so now I've opened up and I'm working for other types of businesses.
All right, fantastic. And I know we share a very cool, very savvy marketer and automation expert, Jennifer J. She was
Hey,
giving you a
Jennifer.
shout out here in the comments as well. Simone, that is awesome, and I think is going to play right just very well into our conversation because I love all things marketing and graphics and web design. So I love the conversation we're about to get into. Um, let me ask you this. I mean, I'd love for you to maybe take us a little bit deeper, specific
Okay.
services and things that you offer to your customers. I learned to love more, and of course, give you a chance just to kind of broadcast that and share with our audience exactly what you're doing in a little bit more detail.
Okay. So what I'm doing now is kind of the same thing that I was doing before, but I'm getting deeper into it. But I build websites, and I always describe it as customer focused websites. And for a lot of people, they don't know what story brand is, but I follow the story brand framework, where your website is more about the customer and what they want. They come to your website and they can see in 3 seconds who you are, what you do, and how they can get started working with you. And so I do that. And then I also do funnels and automated systems, and I've been able to add the automation lately because I've discovered this fantastic new software that I white labeled, and I can now offer to my clients. So that and yeah, mostly that, and marketing consultation, content creation. um, yeah, that's mostly what I offer.
All right, fantastic. And I'm going to kind of throw a quick, maybe curveball, but I love for you to
Okay.
talk about funnels really quickly.
Okay.
That's something that I'll be bringing into some of our solo shows as you've been involved with some of our leads meeting where we're doing short versions of strategies. But when we talk about funnels, what I tend to find is that a lot of small business owners, they don't really understand the funnels or the sales processes. Can you just maybe highlight the value of it? Why every small business owner needs to kind of know or have a funnel connected with their work?
A funnel is important because unlike a regular website, you are focusing your prospect or your client or customer on one thing and one action. So there are lots of different types of funnels, and I describe a funnel as a web page or a system, not a web page, a system that guides your prospect from here to here, from not knowing who you are from Adam
Mhm.
to becoming your super fan, your best friend, a very valued customer. So most of the time when we think of funnels, we think of lead magnets where you are giving something away for free, something valuable, something they're actually going to want that solves a problem for them. You're giving it away for free in exchange for their contact information. When they give you their contact information, they're giving you permission to stay in contact with them. And then your funnel can stop there, but it doesn't have to. That's just one step. Uh, the next step can be an upsell where you upsell them to the next step, something that is probably low cost, something that they can purchase from you without a whole lot of thinking necessarily. They don't have to deliberate over it. You put up a sales page and you upsell them into the next thing. And maybe the next step in the funnel, say if you are offering something even more high ticket, maybe the next step in the funnel is for them to schedule a call with you. Um, or it's a thank you page. So it can be, you can do several upsells in one funnel, or you can, make it a thank you page or make it a schedule a call with you or something. But, that's um, generally how a funnel runs. And a funnel does not necessarily have to be a series of web pages. Your funnel can also live within your IG DMs. I've actually been experiencing a funnel in my over the last couple of days in my Facebook Messenger. I friended this guy on Facebook, and he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I saw that I had a friend request from you." And he just started asking me a ton of questions.
Yeah.
And each question I asked, he would respond back with some sort of message that says he understands how I feel and that kind of thing. And then now we're like at the end of the funnel where he's like, "Okay, well, would you like to schedule a call with me?" So he's been funneling me within Facebook Messenger. So, and I can tell it's a phone. I can tell it's not actually him typing. And what's interesting is most people say, like, when you're chatting with a chat bot, then you should like say that you're a chat bot, and don't make people think that they're chatting with you specifically, because people can get confused and think that they're talking to a human being when they're not.
Correct.
Um, so I have a feeling that his was developed using ChatGPT because it was pretty intuitive the way the responses that came back. But what I was saying is, like, your funnel does not necessarily have to be a series of web pages. It also doesn't have to be a sales funnel. It can be a webinar funnel.
Right.
It can be a challenge funnel. You can have lots of different funnels. Summit funnels. You can have lots of event funnels. Um, funnels are great. They are great because they focus your audience on that one action, and they're not getting distracted with all this other stuff. So funnels are fantastic. Everybody should have a funnel.
All right, that might just be like the name of this conversation. Funnels are fantastic. um, Now, it's funny to your point. So I use LinkedIn funnels. Like, I have a standard set of communications. I do type and put everything in there, but it's a
Mhm.
very well organized set of communications. Like, if I connect with you on LinkedIn, I'm asking or kind of making certain comments in my messaging. So to your point, it can be through your CRMs to automated landing pages, but it can be through social media sites. When I first started my business, I used to use a lot of postcards, so a lot of handwritten things.
Oh,
So I
wow.
mean, I was you can go as low tech as needed, but the big
Yeah.
takeaway, for our audience is just having a very clear process for making sales, for having these engaging conversations with prospects. Um, and it can definitely, the question here from Jennifer says, what about B2G or B2C? Or, okay, B2B. Honestly, I would say the
Yeah.
funnels work on both ends because when I first started, I was a B2C business model. Now I am primarily B2B and I have funnels on both ends. So it
Yeah.
can absolutely connect on both ends. Would you agree with that, Simone?
I would. And I would probably say, I guess a B2B is probably even more crucial than B2C, simply because business people just tend to be busier and more distracted. So to be able to focus them on one thing at a time is is helpful,
All right,
I
fantastic.
imagine.
Fantastic. And thank you for letting me kind of go off script, so to speak. I know we're here to talk about, you, Simone, and the things, the goals you're pushing towards in your goal, but your business. But I really thought that was crucial given your expertise. And it's something that I'm passionate about, something I build out with my clients as well. So thank you. We'll have more funnel talks coming very, very soon. Um, Simone, let me come back to you, kind of coming back to our goal for today. I really want to throw some good strategies at you for business growth and just the things you're pushing towards. I guess teach me, if we find one or two strategies that you feel would be helpful for the business focus you have right now, what
Mhm.
does business look like 6 to 12 months from now? What are some of the goals that you have in your business?
Um, my immediate goal is to narrow down my niche
Mm,
or
okay.
niche, however you want to say it.
I, I,
And
I go niche. I think it sounds
your
fancier.
niche. Me too. That's why I found this word for the name of my company is ECHE. I have no idea how it's supposed to be pronounced in real life, but when I saw it, I said that's Eshe. It just sounds it sounds upper
There you go,
class,
like
you
like
know?
Tarjay, right?
Yeah, right.
All right,
So yeah, I want to narrow down my niche and 10x my revenue. And okay, so I guess I have three goals:
all
the
right,
niche, the revenue, and stop doing the $10 an hour jobs and hire some VAs.
all right. So I'll start with the Jennifer J says fancy. I'll start with the last part first. Doing the lower tier work, the lower level work.
Mm,
We had a great conversation not too long ago on a recent podcast episode, and I talked about this thing called profitable time management.
mhm.
And so I'll kind of start there. I guess teach me what does an hour of your time look like? What value have you placed on an hour of your time?
Um, Actually, I've started with what I was making when I was working full time, and that was about $60 an hour.
Okay. Now the
Um,
interesting thing, the great thing, Simone, is I just want you, and you've already will touch on this next, the 10x your revenue mindset. Um,
mhm.
you can set your own price. That's the interesting thing. The scary thing, but the very important thing about being a business owner is you define your value now. It's not, your corporate life means nothing, right? Um,
I love it. I
so,
love it. Let's
so
go.
yeah, so we did a calculation. I love to do this calculation with you really quickly.
Okay. Should I
You
pull out my calculator?
yeah, calculator or pen and paper, and I'll work you through this. For
Okay.
any of the folks in our audience, feel free to jump in on this as well. Let me know when
Okay.
you're ready. All right.
Let me
So,
flip to a new piece of paper. Okay. I'm ready.
all right. So the first number that I want you to figure out is how much money do you want to make in your business over the next 12 months? So by
Okay.
September 2024, and if that's the 10x number that you were talking about as well, whatever that number is,
Oh, should I say it out loud?
Well, you can if you're comfortable sharing it.
$1 million.
Boom. Let's now. I want to stop there really quickly. Now, when I hear business owners, I call it the $1 million milestone, right? So, as small business
Mhm.
owners, it's a standard milestone we all want to hit. How much money per month do you need to make to hit $1 million?
So, I think it's like 8,033. Yeah, $83,333 a month.
Perfect. Now, in the US, there are approximately 33 million small businesses currently today.
Mm,
What percent of all small businesses currently make $1 million? What would you guess?
what percentage? Um, Probably more than I really think. Um, I'd say like at least 60%.
Nope. So
No?
less than 10%. So
Less than 10%, really? What?
approximately 7 to 9% of small businesses in the US make more than $1 million.
Oh,
And another key statistic, and again, I'm obviously talking with you, Simone, but this is for everybody, and definitely the folks that plug into the podcast later to hear this. What percent of small businesses make less than six figures? So less than $100,000.
oh my goodness. Don't tell me it's even more than, is it over 50%? Less
Unfortunately,
than 100 grand?
86% of small businesses make less than $100,000 per year. And
Oh,
that statistic is even worse for Black owned, women owned, and veteran owned businesses. So
mm,
I wanted to frame that up specifically because when we do say $1 million per year, and this is
mhm.
something all my clients get to hear me preach about. I love the $1 million milestone, but we need to understand exactly what it takes to make $1 million because it
What it
is not.
takes.
Yeah, I mean, we are literally talking about the promised land for businesses when they hit $1 million in revenue.
Yeah.
But with that though, so $1 million goal. The
Mm.
next number that I want you to figure out is how many days per year do you want to work? And
No
now,
more than four.
4 whole days out the year.
Four. Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I'm not even mad at that. But so if four is the number
Oh,
for
no,
you,
no, wait a minute. You said throughout the year? I was thinking 4 days a week. Sorry.
I was like, all right, we're about to have a very unique calculation here. But
Yeah, no, 4 days a week.
all right, so when I asked that question, obviously, Simone, there's 365 days per year.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we look at it like, corporate employees, the average number of work days is about 254. When you consider a 5 day work week and, some weekends and holidays and PTOs, you're looking at about
Yeah.
254. But again, the reality is, as a small business owner, you define exactly how many days you want. So for me, my magic number is 169. That
Yeah.
leaves me with about 3 months off out the year to just do what I want to do, whether it's content development or workshops, etc. But what I tend to find is a lot of us small business owners, we don't define how many days per year we want to work. So that's the magic number, whatever that total number may be.
Mm. I put down 192. Um I did 4 days a week times 48 weeks in the year.
Perfect. So 192. And then the
Yeah.
next variable, and then we'll start doing the math, is how many hours per day do you want to work?
Um I say at most 6.
All right. So 6 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm
Now let's
okay with working actually because yeah, I'm not like a lot of people. I
all
got
right.
I got time.
So
Okay.
let's take the 192 multiplied by the
Uh-huh.
six,
Okay.
and then take your $1 million divided by that answer, and just at a very high level, that should give you your dollars per hour.
Huh.
And while you work that out, I want to give a shout out again to Jennifer Barbosa. It looks like her target number is $5.3 million for the year. We have Dr. Brittany Scott online hanging out with us, who apparently it was painful to learn some of those statistics about
Yeah.
how small businesses are doing. So that's I will say for me personally, that's why I'm doing this podcast. Why I want to do my part to eliminate small business failure. So those are the things we're working on. How you
Yeah.
looking, Simone? You got a number for us?
Yeah. It's a lot more than $60 an hour, that's for sure. It's $868 an hour.
There you go. So that is your new profitable time management. So if you
Okay.
have any tasks in your business that
Mm.
are less than, let's just call it $500 an hour, that becomes your justification to consider the VA or whatever support, may help you get that off your plate. So then you can focus on a lot of lead generation work, a lot of, fulfillment work for your clients and customers. But that's a standard. Um, my man Daryl here in the comments is asking to repeat the math equation again. So variable number one are how much money do you want to make over the next 12 months? Variable number two is how many days per week, or excuse me, how many days out of the year do you want to work? Variable number three is how many hours per day do you want to work? And then you multiply the days per year by the hours per day. And then you divide your revenue number by that other calculation. And that's how you, and again, it's very high level. So there's a lot of other things you can factor into it, but that gives you an initial feel. Simone, would you say 800 and what?
$868 an hour.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So we,
expensive.
we effectively added $800 of value to your time. So,
All right now.
all right. So,
No complaining about my prices then.
fantastic. And we got some great comments today. First, I want to give a
Mm.
shout out to everybody plugging in. Jennifer's J, Simone, I did this exercise with Jennifer, but she says
Mhm.
that it helped her really understand her pricing model and her real worth.
Yeah.
Jennifer Barbosa says that she has a virtual team that allows her to focus on business development that brings in more money. So different ways to look at the time now.
Yeah.
I guess let me stop there and just ask: was that kind of helpful when we're
It
talking
was.
about what to outsource or how to manage time? Is that
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's like right here in black and white.
there?
You know, this is how much my time is actually worth. So I need to be spending my time doing the things that only I can do.
There you go. And now
Yeah.
on top of that, I'll highlight this, and then I do want to come down to the niche, the niching of the business. Um, what I encourage a lot of my clients to do is to create time on their calendars on a daily basis. One time slot, I call it time to think. So
Thing.
literally on my calendar, it's just called TTT, time to think. And what I
Mhm.
like to use that time for, Jennifer, excuse me, I'm looking at all the Jennifers in our comments here. Simone, what I like to use that time for is to just ask myself questions like, what would it take for me to make $1 million this year? And just every day, take a little time to think about it. TV's off, phones off, computers off, but just, let your brain do the work. Your brain is an amazing computer and it will solve the problem. I'm saying it like that because I very much think the answer to that also comes into the first point of where you started, which is niching down.
Mhm.
What is the $1 million niche that's going to get you there as quickly as possible, as effectively as possible? But that's for me minimum 30 minutes per day, just taking time to think. And then the other thing that I like to share with my clients is just taking time to measure. So at the end of the week, and I'll be doing it right after our call today, I like to take time to measure how many leads did I get this week? Did I get any sales? Did I have any, conversions? What expenses did I track this week? But I have to measure my progress because one thing I've learned in business is progress equals happiness, but we have to measure progress. So if those are a couple of additional tidbits from that time management standpoint, I hope that can be helpful for you.
And you do the measuring once a week?
Yeah, for me, I do it once a week, but I encourage, if not once per day, minimum once per week for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I've
2
heard
PT and
the
2 PM, those are two times that we got to have on our calendars.
okay. Huh. I've heard the have time to think. I used to listen to this lady who used to say, thinking is the hardest work most people never do.
Love it. I
Um,
agree.
um, so yeah, I've heard that one. The scheduling time to measure, I think that's been an Achilles heel for me.
Okay.
And not just the measuring, but also doing something about it. Um, it's like, okay, I can see that I didn't bring in uh, as many leads this week as I wanted. So I need to like set some things aside and focus on that and focus dedicated time for generating leads.
Right. And now think about how they're both connected now, right? Because if you're taking
Yeah.
time to think, but you're also taking time to measure, when you
Hmm.
measure and man, I didn't get enough leads this week. Now you add on the time to think, okay, so what do I need to do next week to pick back up to get the boost that I need so that by the end of the month, right, I'm hitting the different targets for whatever it may be, lead, sales, revenue, whatever. But that time to think, time to measure, now we're going to make data driven decisions that let us know, right? Am I in the right niche? Am I getting the leads that I need from this niche or the next? So that's the connection there, is that we
Hmm.
take the time to look at both aspects and then we pivot appropriately. So then by the end of the month, we where we need to be? Yes or no? That's really what we're trying to do. And when the answer is yes, and you start getting yes, yes, that equals progress. And trust me when I say you're going to feel really good about that progress.
Okay.
So, so
I'm
let's talk
looking forward to that.
now. I guess teach me about your niche because I am interested to ask and learn a little bit more there because it sounds like you already kind of had a niche with your focus
I
on
did.
gospel and artists. Um,
Hmm.
I guess how did you land there, and what caused you to pivot out of that? I'm curious to maybe understand that.
Um, I guess like looking at it from this standpoint, I feel like God has just brought me on a journey. I don't know if it was the niche I was supposed to be in or whatever, but it's been a journey. So I started, it was an idea that was sparked because of a question that my sister asked. Um, and it was a while back. I came home from work one day and I got an email from my sister who was in Spain doing her last year of college, finishing up her Spanish degree. She was also a music major in school. So she's in Spain, and they had asked her to sing for some church program. And the song she picked that she wanted to do, the musician didn't know. So she emailed me um, to ask me what, or to find the song. She asked me to find the song. So I could send her the song, and she could give it to the musician, and he'd know the chords and all that wonderful stuff. I scoured the internet. iTunes had just come out. I'm all over iTunes. Can't find the song. I can't find like a good. I couldn't find it. So I did eventually find this really bad quality MIDI file that was probably on some, spammy site somewhere. Anyway, so I found the song and I sent it to her. And, when that was all done, I was like, there needs to be a place online where you can find just any Christian song you want and be able to download it. And that idea just would not let me go. I had a cousin who was staying with me for a little while, and he and I would just like, back and forth go over like ideas for businesses and different things like that. But when I had that idea, it just stuck. It wouldn't let me go. So one day I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to build it. Got to build the site. And I was an IT major, IS major in college, and so I was like, I can build it myself. I'm a web developer, so that's what I did.
Okay.
That's what I did, and and as I got into learning about musicians and what they want and what they need and the music industry and how it was all going, um, I pivoted, several times, like I said in the beginning. So I started with a digital download store and I ended here. Here I am, working for whoever, as a digital marketer. Um, in my quest to help artists to build a fan base and actually succeed in business, because the stuff that they've been learning just has not been helpful for everybody. It's been helpful for some few who have a ton of money, but for most of them, it's not helpful. So I'm like, well, hello, here's what's going to help you. Take your music directly to the fans, to the people, get them to buy it, build up that fan base, build that loyalty. And then guess what? The industry will come knocking on your door. And that's happened several times. It's happened with Justin Bieber, or it happened with, I'm forgetting this guy's name, but the guy who beatboxes with Pentatonics. It's happened with several people. They're out here on YouTube playing and singing and doing covers and whatever. Next thing you know, the industry comes knocking on their door.
Well, I'll be honest, as I'm listening to your story, so I go back and forth on niche. I'm going to give you probably more opinion than actual coaching,
Mm,
because a lot of my coaching is built around frameworks. This is pure opinion. Honestly, I think you have to figure out what you're going to be passionate about, one, and what has the growth potential. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
ultimately, is it a dying niche? And if the answer is yes, it is a dying niche. Like if you try to go into business supporting groups that want to make videos on VHS, I'd say, Simone, stop. Nobody buys VHS anymore, right?
Right.
But I think as long as you're interested and passionate about it, I don't know if it matters because you are an expert in the digital marketing field. I think it's not where you choose to niche, but how you market to a niche, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So, you can have a focus, let's just say supporting pest control companies, for example. You can market to that, but then you could turn the same marketing around for your gospel artists. You could do the same thing just for your general creatives. You could do the same thing for home contractors. I think for you, given your skill set, I think you're just going to have to communicate effectively to any group you want to target. But my big thing for you is just understand the industry. The the real maybe coaching advice that I want to share with you is I think it really comes down to how you articulate the problem you solve and who you solve it for. So even with your example for Christian artists, um, what is the problem that you were solving for them at the time? How would you articulate that? And you have two sentences, no more than two sentences, to articulate the problem you solve.
Mm. Oh, the problem I saw. I think there's a disconnect.
Okay.
The problem I saw was they didn't have a fan base. They needed a fan base. I think the problem that they saw was that they're not on the radio and they're not on the charts. Those are two very different problems. One, they're willing to pay for. The other one, not so much.
All right. So I think that'll be the same thing as you decide which niche you may want to play in
Hmm.
is based on that niche. So I'll share an example just from my own personal background. So I was a healthcare executive for 15 plus years. So naturally, a big part of my client base are made up of healthcare businesses because I talk healthcare as well as anything.
Hmm.
I'm a black business owner. So naturally, a big part of my customer base, well, 100% of my customer base, they're all black and minority business leaders because I can relate. So it's a community that I can plug into. It's a community that I know I can solve problems for. And then another part of my customer base are coaches and consultants and other folks, kind of solopreneur world, because that's the world that I'm in. I am a solopreneur, happily a solopreneur, and I outsource things as I need. But so those aren't necessarily niches, but they are demographics that I can relate to in and out very well. But now, when I'm talking to a healthcare professional, it's in a very unique way as opposed to when I'm talking to a general Black business owner or a minority business owner versus when I'm talking to a coach or a consultant. So I can speak to their unique problems and tell them specifically how I can solve the problems with them or for them. So that's maybe the real coaching advice is I'd love for you to think about your business in terms of the unique problems you solve for any particular group that you choose to focus on. And then as long as you're interested and focused and passionate about the group that you're focusing on, it's probably the reverse of a lot of things you hear, but I don't think you need a niche. I just think you need to be interested, passionately want to support that unique group, and then
Mhm.
message your solutions and your problem solving capabilities to their needs. And honestly, it should be game over from that point.
I am glad that you said that. Um, I heard one person say that like your niche can be you. Um, Meaning like I can have my own. And this is why I changed my company name from Eshe Music to Eshe Marketing.
Mm,
But I don't put my company name out there so much. I've decided that I am the brand, and I am the digital marketer, and I'll talk about and serve people however I can.
mhm.
Like my niche is what I do rather than who I serve, I guess. Um, yeah. So I mean, I've been looking at funeral homes and coaches, business coaches. Um, well, yeah, not just business coaches, but coaches, people who I feel like I know I can do work for, I can actually get results for.
Right.
So,
And see, I think that, let's just use the funeral home as an example. When it comes to the funeral home, getting to understand them, and we've talked about client avatars on this podcast,
mhm,
but I would say I'll limit you here, maybe to put some boundaries around what I'm saying, sharing with you,
mhm,
Simone, is maybe pick three niches that you would love to just focus on for the next 90 days. So let's just call it through the end of this calendar year, right?
okay.
And for those three niches, if it's funeral homes, for example, is one of them, go ahead and build out the perfect avatar of the funeral home owner so that
Mhm,
when you reach out to that funeral home and you present to them the different problems you solve, how you can make their world easier, how you can make their business more profitable, come up with something nice and cool, like people should be dying to work with you, right? Da-da-ba. um,
mhm.
when you
Sorry, that was a good one.
I try.
It took me a second. It took me a second, but that was good.
I'm full of dad jokes. All right, but when you truly understand the needs of a funeral home
Mhm,
and target them and message to them effectively, again with the work you're doing, especially digital marketing expertise, which my gut tells me not a lot of funeral home leaders are experts in the world of digital marketing, right? So it should be a hand in the glove fit. And then whatever the two other niches that you would choose to focus on for the next 90 days. But that is the best advice I could offer you on that is just
mhm,
for whatever groups you're going to focus on, really understand their needs, package, your products, your solutions effectively, and reach out to them. And then that again becomes the time to think, the time to measure. Hey, I reached out to 50 funeral homes this week. I got replies back from 20 of them, and we start moving them through our funnel that you're going to build for funeral home directors for
mhm,
this kind of niche, that kind of niche. And like a year from now, I love to see you with 100 different funnels targeting 100 unique niches, and you're over there 10xing all the revenue to hit that $1 million goal for the year.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So, okay, so right now I have like a general apply to schedule a call with me. So instead of a general, I need to have like one for coaches, one for funeral homes, and one for what, maybe musicians.
Yeah, I truly would. I truly would.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have the general one, right? But
Okay.
then I would also have some very super targeted ones and go hard on those for a period of time. Sit
Mhm.
back and assess the results, and then if you need to pivot, pick the next niche up, and just kind of keep going down the line. But like I said, you do that strategically over the course of a year, and literally 2, 3 years from now, you're going to have so many different branches and those leads because you're an automation expert as well. Those leads are just going to be flooding in and you'll be serving them one by one. But to be super targeted, you don't need to change, but your messaging would need to change dynamically for each one.
Mhm. Okay,
That,
that
that,
sounds good.
that's what I can see. But I don't want to use up all my time with you, Simone, without kind of having a quick wrap up and just with everything we talked about. I know I probably hit on a lot of different areas from time to think, time to measure, profitable time management, which you now know you are worth $860+ per hour, to not niching, but having some very niched messaging for the different capabilities. But
Mhm.
out of the big mix of everything, anything that sounds good or something you may truly consider implementing after our call here?
All of it. Yeah. Um, okay, so yeah, definitely. So I think the first thing I need to implement is my mindset, like the thoughts that I have, really letting it sink in that I am worth at least $868 an hour. And there is no there is no reason to be, nickel and diming. Because I am an expert. I've been doing this for a long time. I know what I'm doing and I can get you results. Um, the other thing is the time slots, specifically, the time to think, ask myself these specific questions. And I have a journaling app, so I could use that for that too. And then measuring. This is my weak spot. I don't measure like I should, but setting aside time to measure how many leads have I gotten, how many sales, what are my expenses. Yeah, that's my thing. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer says to own it.
Own it.
I'm with you,
Absolutely.
girl. I'm with you. Oh, and then uh, build so I need to build two more funnels because I've got a general funnel, so I'll build two more funnels, one for the funeral homes and another one for coaches, and make sure I have niche messaging in each of those as
Well,
I'm reaching out to people.
and consider this, when we say coaches, that's a whole world of
I
chaos by
know
itself, right?
that's the
Life
whole thing
coach,
too.
business coach, relationship coach, spiritual. So you can,
You
that's
know
why,
what?
yeah, that's why I say the niching is an interesting concept. But if
Yeah.
you love coaches, I want to support coaches, I can solve this problem for coaches, then leave it broad. If it needs to be targeted, go target it. So that's
What do
purely
you think about this? What do you think about me going after grief coaches? Grief coaches and the funeral home businesses kind of have a happy
collaboration.
marriage there,
Yeah.
you know? I have a client who I'm working with some other people. I've got my partners that I'm working with for the funeral home, but I'm working sort of on my own with a grief coach.
Okay.
So, and I introduced her to the funeral home because they lost their grief counselor and they need somebody to help them generate that content. So I was like, happy marriage.
So I love it. Strategic partnerships and collaborations, one of my
Yeah.
favorite strategies. So if you can leverage these niches to connect dots between the clients that the client base that you're, going to build out,
Mhm.
even more, that's next level ninja planning, and I love it. So,
Yeah.
and Jennifer
I feel that
Barbosa,
I've been endorsed.
yeah, Jennifer loves it as well. She said that's really nice, or that's
Yeah,
really niche. Excuse me.
that's really niche.
Um, so no, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I try
Mm.
to keep these in a respectable amount of time, but Simone, I feel like I could probably keep going and going because I'm really enjoying, the conversation, and I think your focus is going to be next level. So please promise us that you will keep us updated as you start testing a lot of this feedback out. And before I let you go, Simone, would love for you to just share the best way that our audience can stay connected with you, or learn more about your business as well.
Well, you can connect with me on Facebook at facebook.com/Simone A. Henry. That's my personal page. My business page is Simone Henry Marketing. My website is simonehenry.com. And I am on LinkedIn. Um, and my handle on LinkedIn, I think, is I am Simone Henry, which is what I wanted, but it was taken on all the other platforms. But those are the main places. If you can't find me on social, find me on my website. Message me, and I'll steer you in the right direction.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'll make sure we add all of that to the actual podcast when we get this conversation released for you. Simone, thank you again for a fantastic conversation. For everyone in the audience today plugging in with us, thank you for making us a part of your day. Until next time, this is Jarvis and Simone wishing you all more leads, more customers, and more profits in your business. Take care. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks.